I have grown some vegetables which I eat, and so I'm not adversely affected at a personal level by the circumstances that are around us. But certainly I feel, the burden that is now all over the country and around me. It's a huge burden, and I've been saying that the best way to deal with it is really to share it as much as we can.
Okay. Doctor, you came out recently and shared a suggestion of kind of, I will call it a treatment. Many people have taken good use of it, and they have testimonies that it has helped them. Others are complaining about it's mixed with their other health problems and complications like ulcers and things like that. People have given it names. Some people call it the Besigye Zeneka, something like that. What informed your view to come out with this kind of suggestion?
Well, first of all, I am really not a person to take the merit for assembling what has been suggested to Ugandans to use during this time. The original research on these components was done by some academics in Tanzania.
Okay.
And they indeed were informed. There are proposals of how to build your immunity that are informed by scientific knowledge. It's not just a concoction that is not researched. They are researched. They are ingredients that are absolutely necessary in boosting the body immunity, and that is really its main purpose. So it's not a treatment that it's going to kill the virus, but it gives you capacity, your body, to kill the virus.
Okay.
And for the most part, viruses are dealt with by our bodies only. There are few viral conditions that have specific antiviral agents to kill those viruses. In the most part, viruses, we kill them by using our bodies. And so the body immunity, the body capacity to fight is extremely important.
That's what saves you.
Yes, not only in viruses, but in all other infective agents, because we are always being infected by all kinds of things in our daily lives. You take in contaminated things, whether it's on the food or drinks you eat, or you breathe, or whatever. They are infective agents that we are always taking into our bodies, whether they are fungus, whether they are viruses, whether they are bacteria, whether they are parasites, all kinds of parasites. There are many things we take into our bodies. But what determines whether you become sick or not is dependent on three things that are important for our people to understand. The first one, to determine whether if something gets into you, makes you sick, is how aggressive the agent that has come into you is. Even of the same types, there are different aggression, levels of aggression. Even if it's maybe you have got a flu, ordinary flus. Some flus are more aggressive than others. Even if you maybe have agents that cause pneumonia or or diarrhea or whatever. It depends on how aggressive the agents that have entered your body are, how virulent they are. Secondly is how much of that you take in. You know, even if something is not very aggressive, if you take a lot of it, it will affect you in that capacity. It will make you sick.
Yes.
And that is the area where these masks are important in this fight, because these agents that cause COVID go in the air. And so if you have a mask,
it limits
it, you reduce how much
you
can take in, even if it's in the air around you. The mask cuts off a big chunk of what you would take in otherwise. Similarly, if you are infected yourself, the mask holds back a lot that you would push into the air to infect others. So that is the second element. First, aggression of the infective agent. Second, the quantity. The quantity. Third is the ability of your body to fight whatever enters.
Okay.
And even when we are talking about vaccines, that's the area where they come into play. The vaccines help your body to fight. The vaccines are not a treatment that they will kill the virus.
They only boost the strength
your body can your have. Ability to fight.
Okay.
They don't stop you from being infected. You will get infected, but you will not get the disease. You will not become sick, or if you become sick, you become mildly sick. You don't get serious disease.
So, doctor, that's the basis.
So
for
this body immunity is dependent on many things. And again, so one should not just listen to and do the things that we talk about, you know, these drinks, the immune booster drinks. There are other things that are important in boosting your body, like having regular exercises is extremely important. As you exercise, the body generates some chemical components that are important in boosting your immunity. So if you are, you know, lying down all the time, you are more prone to be attacked and to get serious disease. Secondly, to have enough sleep, because during sleep time, the body cleans out agents in the body that weaken your ability to fight disease.
During sleep?
During sleep. So sleep time is the time to clean out the body. It's like, you know, in towns, people take the garbage at night. So at night you put out the garbage into the garbage bins.
During business time, everyone is just doing their work.
Yes, you are doing.
That's what the body also does.
You are doing your work. You are storing the garbage in the bins at night.
The people in charge,
garbage collectors, then should come in cities and, you know, communities where this works. In our case, the garbage is never collected, and that is why we are in trouble. Or it is collected during the day when people are working. But garbage should be collected at night.
Yes.
And that's what happens in the body. So if you have enough rest, all the garbage in your body,
you're giving the body enough time
to sweep all this garbage, wash the streets, and in the morning you are good to run again. So enough sleep is very good. You know, stress very adversely affects immunity. If you are stressed for any reason, you are worried about this, about that, you know, you have stressful situation, you are living in fear, your immunity goes down. Okay. And again, you know, so that's why even when we talk about public management, you know, how governments manage situations like these, all these factors are critical.
To be considered.
Yes, it's not just enough to say, you are bringing a vaccine, or you are, you have a hospital. The public health, or health care of people should be aimed at people not becoming sick rather than treating them.
Okay. Doctor, with the Besigye Zeneka, I'll give it the name people have given it. It has things from our garden. The components are things that somebody can get from the backyard. Natural ingredients.
Yes.
Is it time for our local herbs and our garden products now to take center stage?
My grandmom, my paternal grandmom, was an accomplished herbalist. She knew, very, very many herbs that could treat all kinds of ailments.
Okay.
And, she was a consultant in that regard. People used to come even from abroad, from Rwanda, from Congo, to come and consult, and she would understand what they are suffering from and go to the
gardens,
yes,
and the bushes.
to the bushes and collect herbs and mix them and treat them, and they
people could heal
and go back. So regrettably, when colonial during colonial time, we lost a lot of this knowledge because it was not recorded. It was not, they would pass it on verbally and through apprenticeship to the young ones who would keep on the process. Now, during colonial time, this was lost, and the whole idea of bringing packaged ones from
wherever,
yes, took center stage, and it's been unfortunate that our country, and indeed Africa, lost centuries of very
knowledge.
valuable knowledge that had been accumulated. So there are still, some remnants of that knowledge,
but still in the villages
amongst our people, and I think it's important that that knowledge is collected, is protected, and developed. I happened to be a medical worker in an environment where we didn't have modern medicines during the war, and I had to
bring in your grandmother's skill.
Yes, I had to resort to some of the things that I had learned as a child, but also to take advantage of the knowledge that was within the community where we were.
Okay.
The old women, the men who knew some of these
so
things.
You would consult them, put things together, and have people cured.
Even get them to actually do the needful themselves. So yes, these natural herbs and agents that can be used in medical care are very useful. And so the booster has those kinds. I was talking about the
immune booster,
where the immune booster falls. Apart from using these herbs, one needs, as I said, to consider all the other things, including avoiding stress, including
exercise.
Yes. Not taking a lot of alcohol, smoking. All these things undermine
the
body immunity. Now, having dealt with that, what this immune booster brings are nutrients that build the body immunity. One category of such nutrients which is very, very important are vitamins. And the whole range of vitamins are very, very important. Vitamin A, vitamin B, vitamin C, vitamin D, vitamin E, vitamin K. All these vitamins, the whole
Doctor,
range of
taking
vitamins.
you back to the local products, the herbs and all of that, how much can they go in terms of fighting a disease like COVID-19? You're talking about immune
so
boosting.
this is what I'm telling you.
Yes, immune boosting. Can we push it to
So this is what I'm saying. The nutrients in those natural ingredients that are important are in this category. I'm telling you, the vitamins are in the natural things. And some of those that you call the Zeneca or whatever provide those essential vitamins.
Okay.
Most prominent, the vitamin C, which is quite prevalent in many fruits. But the reason we recommend lemon and all citrus fruits, you know, oranges, grapefruit or whatever, they have a lot of vitamin C. But on top of the vitamin C, which is a lot in lemons, the lemon, that scent you hear, you feel of lemon, the lemon aroma comes from the peelings of the lemon fruit, which have ingredients that are also useful apart from the vitamin C in the body immunity. And they come out when you put the fruit or the peelings in hot water. And that's why, you know, what we recommend is that you slice the lemon and put it in the hot water. So on top of getting the juice with the vitamin C,
within the orange, the peelings also give you the products in it.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So so these are supposed to provide, you know, those vitamins. The minerals, there are some minerals which are very, very important, like zinc, which has been again found to be particularly important in this COVID
kind of situation,
infection.
Doctor, you have
now these can also, if you can't get them and they are indeed becoming increasingly expensive, you may find that they are cheaper buying the artificial ones.
Okay.
You can buy vitamin C from the shops.
If you can't get lemon or
yes, if you can't get all these things we are talking about, take a lot of those vitamins, or you can get zinc tablets again from the shops and so on.
Okay. Doctor, there are people that have given testimonies about your suggestion. I'll continue calling it the Besigye Zeneca, the social media name, about how it has helped them. But again, there are people that have complained about the ingredients in it relating with their situations, those with ulcers, for example. And you have colleagues, medical doctors, that have also supported them, that these can really escalate their problems, especially ulcers. What is your view about that, and how would you advise those that have already taken it on?
First of all, ulcers as a condition is not something that should, you know, chronically bedevil our people. The greatest cause of ulcers is known. It's also an infective agent.
Okay.
It can be treated. There is no reason why one should live with ulcers that for me, I am an ulcer.
An ulcer patient.
Part of that is actually psychological. Some people just, you know, consider that they have ulcers and
they have to live with it.
Yes, so first of all, if you think you have ulcers, let it be properly diagnosed. And as I have said, the greatest majority of ulcers can be easily treated.
Okay.
Even those that can't be easily treated with medicine can be treated by other means. People who just keep on saying, I have ulcers, some of them even end up being killed by
other
cancers. Because some cancers actually present as ulcers, and people keep on this and that until when it is too late. So if you have ulcers, if you think you have ulcers, let this be managed properly by medical experts, and it can be treated.
How can I live with my ulcers
while you are still having a situation whereby maybe if you take things that are on the acidic side, that they may, cause you pain in the stomach. You don't. The only ingredient in what we have proposed in what is called that Zeneca, is paper, the camulari.
Yes.
Those are the only ingredient
that may escalate the ulcer problem.
Yes. Lemons in hot water become alkaline.
Okay.
So they are, even if you have actually a problem in your tummy, lemons are good, but put them in warm water, and actually the lemon water is alkaline.
How about ginger?
Ginger is okay. It shouldn't cause any problem.
When it's too hard, doesn't it also
escalate? Like all substances, including medicines, you must take whatever you take in measured quantities. And indeed, we have proposed the kind of measures you should take. So if you take a bowl of ginger, it causes you a problem.
It becomes an overdose, definitely.
Yes. So take the thing in measured quantities that we have proposed. And even in the mixtures, we have proposed how much ginger you should put, how much katunguru chumu or garlic you should put, how much lemon you should put, how much the other big onion you should put. So put them in the recommended quantities and mix them and take the recommended portions each time you take them.
Okay, so it is about how much you take that your other health problems may be escalated or get other problems.
Yes, and if you are, as I have said, if you have indeed a situation like ulcers where paper may cause you more pain and maybe it worsen your condition, don't include it.
Okay.
It can be excluded, and some people have even
that's where actually the worry is, that when I exclude maybe some elements, then it will not be a complete dose.
No, it can be excluded, and some people have added honey instead of paper, which also gives it a better taste, and I have no quarrel with that. But I am not very anxious to recommend the addition of honey. You can just take the other 4 ingredients, mixed together, and you'll be good.
Thank you so much, Doctor. To you watching, this is the information that we all need to have our lives safe in this kind of a situation. So do not go anywhere. Let's enjoy this very short break. We are sharing a lot with Dr. Yes, it's UBC One-on-One with Micheal Jordan Lukomwa. Thank you so much for keeping it with us, and welcome back from the break. We are with retired Colonel Dr. Kiiza Besigye. Doctor, welcome back from the break. Doctor, how much can we fight on with COVID-19?
The virus that causes COVID-19, a virus which is called serious acute respiratory syndrome coronavirus 2 was only identified in December of 2019. Having been identified and become part of our world, it will stay forever.
Okay.
It is not going to disappear. We are going to live with it. Paka.
So what do you think we have to do?
Now, so we have to learn how to live with it.
The virus has now produced variants, a good number of them. Now, in my view, it has even overpowered us internationally, because the vaccines already on the market were produced when the variant was still almost one, the China variant. Now we have like almost 10 and most dangerous ones, but we are still taking in vaccines that were produced when these other more deadly ones had not yet surfaced. In your view, are we still on the right move internationally in as far as handling COVID-19 is concerned?
Yes, internationally, I think, first, the international community responded, I think, in record time to come up with the vaccine within a period of
around 8 months.
Less than a year. That has never happened in the history of vaccines.
Okay.
And this is because the new technology was applied in developing these particular vaccines, which of course itself is controversial because of its being new and because of the means through which it was developed. And there is a whole lot of debate there. But this was nonetheless a commendable response internationally, that vaccines could be made in such a time that have demonstrated that they can protect people. What has not been in that regard properly managed is how those vaccines are made available to the whole world. The countries that have produced these vaccines, who are the developed countries, took a rather unfortunate position of, first of all, commercializing the vaccines so that those who produce them can maximize the benefit out of their production, because it's an intellectual property that is owned by those who produce them, and they can manage it for commercial reasons. That, I think, is a blunder.
What is your view about the situation where some countries are not recognizing some vaccines? Well, if you have a vaccination certificate with such and such a vaccine,
well,
we will not allow you in our country.
That again must fall within the area of international regulation. And that's why, we have World Health Organization as a world body. So standards must be set for the world community as to what is acceptable, what is not acceptable. And it should not really depend on each country to say, we don't recognize this, we don't. In as far as health is concerned, there should be standards. If there is a standard of vaccine that is considered unacceptable generally, it should not be approved. Now,
if it is approved, it can't be one country to say no.
Yes,
to
yes. So this is in the area of international regulation, and I think the sooner they do that, the better, because already there is talk of vaccine apartheid. I think what needs and needed to be done as soon as the vaccines were the technology to manufacture these vaccines was approved, should have been to license all those who have capacity to produce to do so that there is no shortage of vaccine because the producers are few. And I'm glad that I think that is beginning to happen, but still a lot of challenges because of those intellectual properties. But that is what needs to be done urgently. Okay. So that in Africa, you know, we have countries like South Africa, I think Egypt and some others who can manufacture these drugs, these vaccines quickly, and everybody gets it. But also, finally on this matter, I think this must serve as a wake-up call for Africa especially. Because all other people have been able to, the Chinese have, Russians have, even now here, a small country like Cuba has developed a vaccine, and the Americans have. What's wrong with Africa? You know, and you know, some time back I used strong words to say that we are really foolish, and we must be harsh.
President Museveni says we are asleep.
We must be harsh with ourselves. Mr. Museveni has really no right to comment on what is going on.
But you agree with him?
Because he has been in charge of one of the African countries for possibly one of the longest periods among African leaders.
What is your view on how we are handling the COVID-19 situation in Uganda?
So, a pandemic that is going to be here with us forever, that is impacting everybody's life adversely, everybody's livelihood adversely. That is a crisis of a major magnitude for a country. And we should have managed it totally differently, in my view, to start with, by involving everybody, because this is a national crisis. And our constitution envisaged such a situation. And that's why there is in the constitution Article 110 that talks about a state of national emergency. So a state of national emergency under Article 110 should have been declared in our country, and once it is so declared, then Parliament must kick in, and a plan presented to Parliament on how the emergency is going to be managed.
Doctor, are you not looking at the situation in an exaggerated manner?
You tell me of what I am saying, what is exaggerated? I'm just telling you.
Taking on a state of emergency.
Yes, but
when we have a Ministry of Health, we have all these people.
Yes, but
can't they just play their roles?
You know, I have told you where that comes from and what brings it about. You know, Article 110, if it is not to come into play in circumstances like we have, what would bring it into play?
Do you see the situation as worse to the extent that calls for that Article 110?
What can be worse than a situation that adversely impacts the health of all Ugandans, the socio-economic life of all Ugandans, that necessitates the shutdown of the country, including all livelihoods? What can be more severe? What can be more demanding of an emergency than this? You know, so if you lock down people, I told you that one of the things we must have a keen eye on is the body immunity. You are locking down people, you have no plan on how they eat, you know, and you know that your people eat hand to mouth.
Doctor, just
whatever they get every day is what they eat.
What is the role of government in checking what I eat as an individual? Because what I expect is experts that the government brings on board.
What I'm talking about is not what you eat,
yes.
That you eat even. In colonial time, was at the sub-county. There was a reserve of food at the sub-county. There was a reserve of food at the national level. Now, under independent Uganda, nobody in Uganda has any food reserve. Not the home, not the sub-county, not the country. So when lockdown came, there was no reserve of food anywhere. Not even money. We did not even have reserve in the Bank of Uganda. So the starting point, after locking people down, not even before, to know that this is going to happen, they started now looking for where to borrow money. So the absence of a plan is, is inexcusable, that you must have a plan. And in our case, where you even have no reserves, nothing, that's even where it's more critical that you have a,
Doctor, who would plan for a pandemic that he did not know would come at a certain point in time?
Well, first of all, we have here something called Ministry for Disaster Preparedness, who get a budget every year. So they are actually supposed to anticipate.
Doctor, I want you to compare the budget
disasters.
The budget the ministry gets every year and the kind of situation COVID has posed.
The budget that a government, that a ministry gets is a choice. You choose. These are choices that you make. If you want to create a food reserve, you budget for it and you put the money there. So it depends on your priorities. But what I'm saying is, I'm talking about the management of this pandemic. Already it found us with a bad situation, very shambolic healthcare, and pandemics, how they play out, depend a lot on the healthcare system.
But in the case of COVID-19, it has torn countries which we would think have the best health cares.
Absolutely.
You saw Italy. You have seen India, where our people go every day.
Absolutely, but that...
Yes, so is it about the health care system?
Absolutely, absolutely it is. And we are getting to understand it now. You see, people have been comparing incomparables. Italy, UK, America have a totally different problem. COVID, as we know it, attacks everybody, of course, but only creates serious disease and most death in the elderly people, from 60 going upwards. Or those, of course, who have other ailments. Now, in Europe and those places you are talking about, the people who are in that age group are more than 20%. Why? Because they have healthcare systems that make them live longer. Here, the percent of population above 60 is 3%. Why? Because we have no healthcare system to make us live.
So
it's an indication. It's an indication.
Those people have health systems that enable the old people live longer.
Yes.
But COVID overpowered the systems.
Yes. And this is why. So what COVID does, as I have told you, attacks that large population. Secondly, in their case, these large populations live close together. These elderly live close together. They live in homes of the elderly, most of them. So when one becomes infected, all of a sudden, the whole home becomes infected. They travel in mass transport. In winter, and this disease came out in winter, in January, December, January, in winter, they are indoors. So their problems are very different from ours. As I have said, we don't have the elderly. We live outdoors. People are in their gardens, they are all over there. There is no home of the elderly. Every elderly is in his or her own home. So they got overwhelmed because of structural challenges, that all of a sudden, all these elderly people and and there are very many became sick and needed hospital care. So that is a completely different problem. And here, our elderly were also dying. Another factor which is, I think, still generally under research, but which appears to be the case, is that the original virus from China was not as aggressive to the Africans. And that is because of the factors I talked about. That because in Africa, on a daily basis, we are attacked by all kinds of ailments. You know, our bodies are much more hardened. They are more immune. It's like, you know, if you look after Frisian cows, you must care for them in a different way from if you are looking after the local cows. Why? Because the local cows have evolved by meeting all kinds of attacks, and their bodies are more resistant. So Africans, it appears, those who live in Africa, not those who live there, those who live in Africa, we are like the local cows.
Your brothers in the profession have hiked prices for their services. What is your view? What do you think?
You see, private hospitals are businesses. They are not, you know, public health goods. They are businesses. In fact, they are not even owned necessarily by professionals. Any businessman can set up a hospital as a business and provide services according to the dictates of demand and supply. So rather than shifting our sights, our guns onto the private businesses, the question that would rather be asked is, why is this public good absent where it should be in the public? Because, you see, private hospitals cannot provide public health, actually, because for them they are there to treat the sick. I told you that public health is primarily to prevent people becoming sick. And if they become sick, to manage them at the first, as early as possible. So it's the failure of government to provide public goods that creates this opportunity for business. Businessmen will look for any opportunity that is there to make money. Okay. That is why they invest. They borrow money. Now, you don't know, government does not know the money they have invested into building these facilities, where it came from. It could be from money lenders at 20% per month. So if I put up a facility like that, and I have a market for it, people who will pay so much, I put it. So you cannot now go and say, you know, this is not acceptable. Why didn't you regulate how people can build private hospitals? That you cannot build a private hospital with a loan that attracts this kind of interest. Well, how do you come to regulate just the outcome, the other side? So this is simply a failure of government.
Doctor, what is your closing remark about how this situation would be handled to ensure that everybody gets safe and we see getting back to normal?
Although I am critical on what government has failed to do or done badly, my focus and anger really is on the ordinary people. Because, you know, we get a government that we deserve. If we deserve, if we think we deserve better, we can have better. As long as we can't demand, then we should accept to die and get finished.
Doctor, you are a political leader, and you have a number of people around you, MPs, councillors. What do? One would expect that this is what they are asked to go
political
and do.
Leaders,
do they put up these demands?
Political leaders will do what is demanded of them. What I'm talking about, the fundamental failure, is low demand from the population, that this is unacceptable.
Don't you see anywhere that you would give a credit in the fight against COVID?
Well, you see, again, my role as the owner of the country is not to, be preoccupied by giving credit to my servants. I must demand the utmost because I pay them.
In terms of how much they have done so far.
And I am not satisfied with what they have done, and that's why I raise my voice.
You're absolutely not satisfied in any area.
You see, before you take me to show you where I am satisfied with whatever small that has been done, I must first put emphasis on the bigger things that I expect to be done that have not been done. And that is where the country must focus.
At the time, yes, money was borrowed, like you say. Money was borrowed, but people received posho. This time round, they have plans to give people some money. The vaccines came.
You see, this is our money.
And people have been vaccinated.
You see, this is our money.
Yes, but at least the capacity to ensure that we get it from our money.
This is our money. We must have full accountability of it. Thank you for that.
I shouldn't miss this comment from you. Cabinet was announced, and one of your own, your long-time friend, your long-time struggle person, OHT, Nabosa Joyce Sebugwao, is now, we are under her docket. She's State Minister for ICT, and as the media, we are directly under her. How did you receive the news?
I don't own people. I work with the people.
Yes, she's somebody that you worked with.
I work with the people who.
What went wrong? How did you disagree with her as a group?
No, there is no disagreement. But why she went should first of all be her duty to explain, not mine, because it's a personal decision. She has invested and done commendable work in challenging the pathetic governance that we have. She has been very vocal in showing, indeed, like I am doing, the failures of government, the disappointments the country has.
You must have lost a serious person then.
So, yes, as I have said, it's a choice. Uganda has 40 million people. Individuals make choices all the time, and this is why they should be the ones to explain why they have made such choices to join something they have been, fundamental opposed to. Is their choice. I have said that for me, I think she has done a lot to support marginalized people, and for that she should continue to be credited. There are many who have never joined and done what she has done on the part of the population. So she's better than those. I wouldn't have advised her to do what she did. I wouldn't encourage anybody to ride the leopard, because where it ends is in tears.
Why do you describe it that way?
Well, I mean, Mr. Museveni calls himself a leopard. So if you want to ride the leopard.
On that very point, you see, she's not the first one.
Yeah.
Especially from your camp. We have Mama Mabida.
And she will not be the last one.
Okay, we have Mama Mabida, we have had Major Ruaramira, a good number of them. What really goes wrong within your camp that people are jumping off your track?
There is nothing. Really goes wrong? You see, our camp is not a camp of leaders. Our camp is the camp of Ugandans that are held hostage by the military junta or juntas in Uganda. That is our camp. It's not a camp of leaders. It's a camp of marginalized Ugandans. That camp increases every day. More and more people become marginalized. So that camp is ever growing and ever becoming more, desirous of change. Now, individuals, for different reasons, some become tired of struggling. Struggle is not a cup of tea, is not a bed of roses. We are in jail, we are hunted, we are threatened.
But we have seen others crossing to other opposition political parties as well.
Yes. This is why I say that
the NUP took a number of your people.
Yes, so this is why I say that people are free to make choices. Either to continue struggling. My categorization of the struggle is only in two parts, not in parties. They are the marginalized, the captives, the oppressed, and they are on the other side, the oppressors, the captors, So those are the two categories. What happens amongst the oppressed is not something that I spend a lot of time on.
Doctor, there are groups that blame this on you as an individual. I talked to some group of people that left and joined the new party that was formed with the group of General Muntu. And some people were saying, no, there is dictatorship there. Dr. Besigye calls for shots and it is him. How true is that?
Well, you should be the ones to interrogate it, because
I have an opportunity to talk to you, Doctor.
Yes, so the one who says that, you should interrogate them to start with. You should not just listen, and you should interrogate them.
Do you still invisibly call for shots in Najanangumbi?
Because you know that I stepped down before 3 years before the end of my term.
As president of the party?
As president of the party, I stepped down, and I do not hold any position in the governance of the party. I am not a member of the national executive. I am not a member of the national council. I don't attend any, I've never attended any of such meetings. Those meetings continue and take decisions. If you are talking about the party now led by General Muntu was my successor. He became party president after I stepped down. So can he or whoever is associating with that party tell you whether I had ever interfered in the way he was running the party?
Doctor, in all the subsequent elections internally, you were a supporter of the group that were against him.
So if I was, how did he become a president? It means that
he beat you with your group.
Yes, and that was, if that was possible, and that was immediately after I stepped down. So if he could beat me with my group immediately after I have stepped down, would my influence become any more afterwards?
Why do people blame you so much over things?
Well,
even in other political parties, other people will blame you.
Well, you
Besigye. On social media currently, it is.
You see,
what do you do wrong?
I am encouraged that there are many people out there of different groups who are aiming their shots at me. That is encouraging, and it should encourage everybody.
People aim shots at you. You don't mind about the shots themselves?
But that's what shows that there is something to shoot at. You'll never shoot at anything that is not worth shooting at. The imagery is that of the mango tree with a lot of mangoes. It is the one that people will be throwing sticks and stones at to get mangoes. A mango tree that...
Doctor, you look at it in a general picture,
a mango tree that is...
the details, how do you feel? Because I've had people on social media saying you're working for the NRM indirectly, you're in bed with the NRM. How do you feel about such? Because you call them stones, but some are stones, others are metallic, others are what?
Yeah,
how do you feel about that?
Very much to be expected. As long as, and as I have said, to be celebrated, because that is the only proof that I am productive.
Okay.
And anybody who is productive will get, you know, that kind
will
of...
be attacked.
Those kinds of attacks. I dare say that the greatest majority of them, disguised in all kinds of forms, come from our main opponent.
Thank you so much, Dr. Colonel Kiiza Besigye. He is a known political leader in this country and a medical professional.
Most people never notice that all them want and need.
This special day, a legend comes on your national TV. When you think of legends, you can't figure out DJ Dan Starboy, the reggae.